Hey there nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander CheapSkate, and we are back with another episode of the Underhive Wars. This is our series of weekly Necromunda battle reports for our Necromunda Dominion campaign of our Sector 7 Turf War, and this is battle report number 45 that is fought between my two friends, Warlord Ace and Dark Lord Mac. Warlord Ace is bringing 911 of House Van Saar, while Dark Lord Mac is rocking it with Section 8 of the Venators. So my two friends will be throwing it down in a Marauders scenario on this one. My friend Dark Lord Mac will be playing the attacker, while my other friend Warlord Ace will be playing the defender on this one. So we're going to play some background music real quick. If you want to see exactly what the gangs are bringing for this one, go ahead and pause and take a look at your own leisure. So with that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
Alright, so let's go and talk about the scenario rules for this one. So the scenario is called the Marauders. The battlefield takes place on a six-tile zone mortalis battlefield, 2x3. For the crews on this one, the attacker gets to choose 6 fighters, while the defender gets D3 plus 2 randomly chosen fighters for the very beginning of the scenario. The rest of the fighters for this gang will show up as reinforcements. Like I said, my buddy Dark Lord Mac will be the attack on this one, while my friend Warlord Ace will be the defender on this one. The objective is that each gang scores 1 victory point for each enemy fighter that goes out of action. Attackers have a very special objective, which is randomly chosen by rolling a d3. In this case, my friend Dark Lord Mac rolled up Mayhem, and that means that once an attacker has injured an enemy fighter, the attacker can leave the battlefield, and if they do, they end within 1 inch of the either short edge of the battlefield, they escape and earn 1 victory point for a fighter that does this. For the objectives for this one, for the defender, it's called Desperation. The defender automatically passes all bottle tests, and unless they voluntarily bottle out on this one. As for reinforcements, at the start of each end phase, D3 fighters from the defender's army list will arrive within 1 inch of a battlefield edge and not within 12 inches of an enemy fighter. The victory conditions for this one is whoever scores the most victory points ends up being the winner. For the rewards, the winner receives D6 times 10 credits, while the loser receives D3 times 5 credits, and in a case where there's a tie, both players receive D3 times 10 credits. For experience, each participant in the battle report earns 1 point of experience, and the leader who wins this one earns an additional experience point on top of that. For reputation, the gang with the most victory points ends up having +2 to the reputation, and if any gang bottles out, they suffer 1 point of reputation loss as well. So with the scenario rules over, let's go and talk about the battle plan real fast. So here's an overhead shot of the entirety of the battlefield. As you can see, my friends are playing on a 3x2 Zone Mortalis table as well. My friend Dark Lord Mac is deployed on the far side of the table, while my buddy Warlord Ace is deployed on the near side of the table as well. As you can see, the Van Saars actually have 5 players on the table, while the Venators actually have 6. Now, what the battle plan on this one is, I'm not really sure what the battle plan is so far. I'm not playing in the scenario, I'm just the arbitrator on this campaign, so I'm just taking photos of this one, so you really have to ask my friends. But from the looks of it, it looks like that my buddy decided, Dark Lord Mac decided to infiltrate in scabs on the very bottom of the screen there. Looks like he wants to pop into an ambush. Looks like he's trying to keep his distance from the Van Saar gangers and just try to pick them off as best he possibly can. So with the battle plan over, let's go and talk about deployment real quick. Alright, so first of all, we start with 911 of House Van Saar for Warlord Ace's gang. On the left-hand side, that is Tough Shakes. He's a ganger who's with body gloves as well as mesh armor, giving a 4-up armor save. He's armed with a last pistol, a power knife, a high-star energy shield, as well as a respirator, and he's got a humiliating injury. Right next on the right-hand side, that is Tank. He's a ganger armed with a body glove as well as a last gun. Up in the front in the middle there, that is Warjack, the brand new Arachna rig that House Van Saar managed to recruit for this one. My buddy Warlord Ace decided to hire a brute for his gang. It's equipped with twin-linked heavy last carbines, 3 servo arms, as well as a plasma gun and light carapace armor. And it's got the superior weapons array, which means that all shooting actions for this unit count as simple actions. Up in the front, that is Mega Man. Mega Man is a juvie who's equipped with body glove, mesh armor. He's got a last sub-carbine respirator as well as rad grenades. He's also got a feebling injury. And then behind him is Chopper, the gang champion. He's equipped with body glove and mesh armor, giving him a 4-up ward save. He's got a rad cannon, a last pistol. He's got a suspensor for his rad cannon, so that way he only costs a basic action to fire that heavy weapon. He's also got a respirator. He's also got the marksman as well as the fixer skills. And that pretty much makes up deployment for 9/11 on this one. So, for my other friend, Dark Lord Mac, over here on the near side of the table, using the Infiltrate special rule, is Scabs. He's a Hive Scum Personae character. He's equipped with flak armor. He's got a plasma gun, as well as a stub gun, as well as filter plugs. He's got the Clamber skill, Escape Artist skill, as well as the Infiltrate skill as well. And he's deployed over here behind this pillar. All the way across the table on the left-hand side, across that huge gap in the floor, there's two members of the Venators. They're both champions. On the left-hand side, that is Red Harvest. He's equipped with a long rifle, a maul, and mesh armor. He's got the fast shot and clamber skill. And right next to him is AWOL Al, another hunt champion. He's equipped with mesh armor. He's got an axe, a bolt gun, as well as the fast shot skill. And that pretty much makes the deployment here on the left-hand side. And finally, on the right-hand side here, we have the last three members of the Section 8. In the back, that is the Saracen. He is the hunt leader. He is equipped with the last pistol, as with a hotshot power pack. He's got a sword, as well as armored undersuit and mesh armor. He's got a House Delac legacy. He's got commanding presence, as well as the Overseer skill. Right in front of him on the left-hand side, that is Red Cap Killer, another hunt champion. He's equipped with bolt pistol, a plasma pistol, mesh armor, as well as the gunfighter skill. And next to him on the right-hand side, that is Cal Jericho, the bounty hunter Dramatis Personae character. He's got flak armor, two master-crafted hotshot last pistols. He's got a dueling saber, filter plugs, as well as a strip clit. He's also got counter-strike, gunfighter, inspirational spring up, as well as step aside skills. And that pretty much makes up deployment for the Section 8 Venators. So with deployment over with, both Dark Lord Mac as well as Warlord Ace will off for initiative to see who goes first. Alright, so it takes directly to the top of turn number 1, and my friend Dark Lord Mac is to go first. So the very first activation, of course, he uses is for AWOL Al as well as Red Cap Killer. Since both those guys are champions, they both can activate each other as well. So because of that, both those guys decide to take a basic action aim, and another basic action order to shoot as well. And as you can see in this photo, they pretty much laid out a couple of members of House Van Saar right off the bat. AWOL Al opens up with his bolt gun directly into Warjack, manages to put 2 wounds on that guy and also pinning him at the same time. So because of that, the Arachno rig goes dropping down. It's only got 2 more wounds left. At the same time, Red Harvest also takes aim and fires with his last long rifle directly into Tough Shakes. Managed to put a serious injury as well as a flesh wound on that character as well. Luckily for Dark Lord Mac, all of his gang members pass their cool checks, so they don't have to worry about running away at this point. So with that, my friend Dark Lord Mac, my friend Warlord Ace goes next. He activates Chopper, who also groups activate Warjack. Both those guys do a simple action moving forward. Warjack sends a special action getting on his feet again, and also takes another simple action to open fire with his plasma gun. Both the plasma gun as well as the rad cannon go firing directly into Red Harvest, as well as AWOL Al, who is all the way across the other side of the battlefield. Unfortunately for Warlord Ace, his plasma gun did miss, so nothing much really happened there. However, the rad cannon hits right smack dab in the middle, covering both Red Harvest as well as AWOL Al in a sheet of radioactive fire, which is all kinds of bad. Due to the weapon's Ravage ability, he's able to put a flesh wound directly onto AWOL Al, but other than that, though, they just managed to pin the 2 guys. Both of them do manage to pass their initiative test, and don't worry about falling off the edge directly into the abyss below. So they're both perfectly safe there, but that pretty much makes it a turn for Warlord Ace. So my man Dark Lord Mac goes next. He decides to activate Scabs, who spends a simple action move around the corner and another basic action to open fire with his plasma gun directly into Tank on the far right-hand flank of the Van Saar deployment area. He does manage to hit Tank, pinning him. Unfortunately, though, he flubs his roll on the wound roll, so nothing much really happened on that one, and Tank got extremely lucky on that one, considering he just took a shot directly at close range from a plasma gun. Meanwhile, Warlord Ace then activates Mega Man, who does a simple action move around the little hole there on the floor, heading directly towards Scabs. He also has him open fire with his last sub-carbine directly into center mass, directly into Scabs. Scabs does get hit with this last sub-carbine and does pin him to the ground. Unfortunately, though, for Warlord Ace, though, he failed his wound roll, so because of that, Scabs is perfectly fine. He is just currently pinned at this point. So Dark Lord Mac then activates the Saracen, who does a group activation using his commanding presence ability on both Red Cap Killer as well as Cal Jericho. He decides to use the Overseer ability directly out to Red Cap Killer, which means that Red Cap Killer now has 2 sets of actions, allowing him to do basically 4 basic actions or 4 simple actions or any combination thereof. So because of that, the Saracen is left behind as both Cal Jericho and Red Cap Killer move up to take the offense. Red Cap Killer uses his first set of actions to move 12 inches across the battlefield because he's got a 6-inch movement, so he does a double movement real quick and ends up right in front of the meat grinder. He then takes another basic action, take aim with his 2 guns, and opens fire with another basic action directly into Van Saar. At the same time, you see Cal Jericho also does a double action, moving up right behind Red Cap Killer in order to lay down some support. Red Cap Killer cuts loose with both his bolt pistol and his plasma gun directly into Mega Man, putting that poor guy out of action and is also causing a grievous injury as well. So because of that, Mega Man goes crashing face down to the ground and he immediately goes into recovery. And as for Warlord Ace's very last activation, he activates Tank. Tank sends a simple action to get back on his feet again, and he also takes a simple action to open fire with his last gun directly into Scabs. He does manage to hit Scab as well as to pin him, causing a wound at the same time. However, Scab does have 2 wounds, so he's about halfway dead at this point. And that pretty much ends turn number 1 for this round. So we go directly to the end phase. The very first thing that ends up happening is that 911's reinforcement shows up. First of all, Bussa9, the gang leader, he shows up with 2 other members, Dromos as well as Squee. Bussa9 is the gang's leader. He's equipped with a body glove, mesh armor, and he's got a combo weapon, which is a last gun as well as a plasma gun attached to it. He's also got a last pistol as well as a respirator. He's got the overseer as well as commanding presence ability. Next to him is Dromos, a hive scum, who's equipped with a chain glaive. And right next to him on the right hand side, that is Squee, who's another hive scum, who's equipped with a plasma pistol as well as an auto pistol. And both of those guys are here because of the fighting pit territory that they also control. So the reinforcements are over with. They go directly to the recovery rolls, and unfortunately for Tough Shakes, he rolls an out of action result, suffering a grievous injury on that one. So because of that, Tough Shakes does go out of action. He'll go directly into recovery. And with that, that pretty much brings the end of turn number 1 for this game. Alright, so here's an overhead shot at the end of turn number 1 on this one. As you can see, only 1 member of the Venators is currently down, that is Scabs. At the same time, 2 members of the 911 are gone out of action, while more reinforcements are showing up on the near side table as well. So at the end of turn number 1 over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 2, and both Dark Lord Mac and Warlord Ace roll off for priority to see who goes first. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 2, and the Venators manage to get the initiative on this one once again, so Dark Lord Mac gets to go next. He spends a simple action to activate both Red Harvest as well as AWOL Al. Both those guys get back on their feet again for simple actions, and since they're both fast shots, they spend another simple action to open up fire directly across the battlefield to 911. As you see in this one, both of their shots manage to hit as well as put serious injuries on 2 members of the gang. Chopper gets put a serious injury put onto him by the long-range shooting of Red Harvest, while AWOL Al managed to put the last 2 wounds directly onto the Arachnorig Warjack, also put a serious injury on him as well. So both those guys go crashing face down to the ground, and they are currently bleeding out, and things are not looking very good right now for 911 at this point. So for Warlord Ace's activation, he decides to activate Bussa9. He uses Overseer skill directly onto Dromos. Dromos uses first set of actions to do a double movement around the meat grinder, heading directly towards Red Cap Killer. And then for his second set of actions, he charges directly into Red Cap Killer, engaging him in close combat as well. At the same time, Squee also moves up his normal wound allowance. For his very first simple action, opens fire directly with his plasma pistol and out a gun directly into Squee. As we see in this photo, things did not go very well for the 911 on this one. Red Cap Killer puts an out-of-action result on Dromos. Dromos flubbed his rolls for his attack rolls, wasn't able to hit anything. However, Red Cap Killer just put a slug directly into his forehead and puts him directly out of action. And to make matters worse, Squee missed his shot with his plasma pistol, so nothing much really happens from there as well. So with that, Dark Lord Mac decides to activate Scabs. Scabs does get back on his feet again and spends a basic action to open fire with his plasma gun directly into Tank, who's right across from him. He does manage to hit Tank and put a serious injury on him as well as a flesh wound. However, because Tank is so close to that pit, he has to take an initiative test. He fails an initiative test and goes slipping through the holes in the ground, and because of that, he does fall and suffer a grievous injury as well. So because of that, he automatically goes out of action and goes directly into recovery. And up next is the rest of the gang of 911 is already done. The rest of the activations used for my friend Dark Lord Mac. The first thing he does, he charges directly with Red Cap Killer directly into Squee and engages him in close combat. To make matters worse, not only does he manage to injure Squee as well, Squee fails his initiative test because he went to a serious injury, and he fell directly into the meat grinder and goes automatically out of action as well. So just like that, another member of 911 go out as well. At the same time, what's his name? Cal Jericho also moves up his double moon allowance as well, so that way he can lend some support to both Scabs as well as Red Cap Killer. And that pretty much makes up the turn number 2 on this one. So with that, we go directly to the end phase. And in the end phase, 3 more members of 9/11 end up showing up in order to lend some support. So first off, on the back there, that guy's name is Maddox. He is a gang who's equipped with a body glove, mesh armor. He's got a rad gun, as well as a respirator, as well as a last pistol. Another guy ends up showing up as well as Ricochet right there in the middle. Ricochet is another gang who's equipped with body glove, mesh armor. He's got a suppression laser, as well as a power knife, as well as a respirator. And lastly, leading the charge, that guy's name is Nero. He's another gang who's equipped with body glove, mesh armor. He's got a last gun, last pistol, as well as a respirator as well. And they show up on the bottom left-hand corner of the table. As for the recovery rolls at this point, both Chopper as well as Warjack are still seriously injured as well, and things are not looking very good for 9/11 at this point. And it's also at this point that my friend Warlord Ace decides to call the game at this point. Dark Lord Mac is beating him 6-0 so far in terms of victory points, and all he has to do in order to dominate the game now is to have his gangers to escape over the right-hand side, and Warlord Ace doesn't want to lose any more gangers than he already has. So because of that, Dark Lord Mac automatically wins the game with the Venators of Section 8 securing a victory on this one. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, go directly to the after-action report because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Alright, so now we're on to the post-game for 9/11. 9/11 suffered 5 injuries on this one. Tough Shakes, Tank, as well as Mega Man. All 3 guys suffered grievous injury, while Squee ended up with the out-call result. As for Dromos ended up being captured by Cal Jericho, who then recognized him as a criminal and sold him to the Guilders for 40 credits. Because of that, Dromos is eliminated off the roster, which means that he's now replaced by another Hive scum named Son of Dromos. And both of those scummers will be able to help out their gang in the next battle report as well. Now, as for the Corpse Fart Sludge Seed, like I said, nothing much really comes from those territories as well. Not to mention, they also lost their gambling gun to Section 8 because they lost the scenario on this one. From the trading post, they managed to end up a grand total of 30 credits from both the territories as well as the settlement. And with those 30 credits, they purchased mesh armor for both Tank as well as Dozer, the 2 newest recruits of their gang, giving those guys 4-up armor save as well. For the reputation, they're 1 point of reputation from their settlement, bringing their grand total to 26. The new record now is at 3 wins as well as 5 losses, and the new gang rating now is at 2,735 points. So with that, we go directly to Section 8 on this one for the Venators. None of the members got seriously injured on this one, so we skipped the injuries. And as for the advancements, the Saracen, the leader of this gang, leveled up to level 4, earning +1 to his movement skill. So now, because of that, he's movement 5 for the rest of the campaign. From their territories, from their settlement, they earned 1 point of reputation for their settlement, as well as 30 credits. For the Needleways, they don't get anything special out of that, besides their ability to infiltrate in 2 groups of 3 fighters apiece. And they grabbed a brand new piece of territory called the Gambling Den that they stole from the 9/11 gang. They do earn 1 point of reputation from the Gambling Den. However, when it came to drawing out their card to place their bets, they drew the Joker card, is what they ended up doing on this one. And in case you've understood how the Joker card, how it works, the Joker card is that whatever money you make from this scenario doesn't get to go to the gang, it gets to a randomly chosen gang in our current campaign. So even though they got a brand new, semi-lucrative piece of territory, they got to pay someone off now with all their winnings, which is really, really bad for Section 8 on that one. So from the trading post, they earned 10 credits from the scenario, as well as 30 credits from their settlement, and they also got 40 credits from the bounty they claimed on Dromos when Cal Jericho turned him in, which gives a grand total of 80 credits, of which they get none of it because they drew the Joker card in their Gambling Den. And so when we rolled up to see exactly which gang ended up getting it, and went directly to Lady Domina of the Killjoys, ended up getting those 80 credits with that. And I don't know if you guys remember from the last battle where we talked about this, but Lady Domina had something like over 200 and something credits in her stash, and with those 80 credits, she decided to buy herself an Escher Chimerix for her gang. So now she has a brand new brute for her gang that she uses the winnings from this as well, which is all kinds of craziness right off the bat. So my buddy Dark Lord Mark was really upset about losing his money and helping out Lady Domina and make her gang even deadlier, which is kind of a huge upset. For the reputation, they earned 2 points reputation from the scenario, as well as 2 points reputation from their territories, giving them a grand total of 30 reputation in all. Their new record now is at 6 wins and 5 losses, and their new gang rating now is at 2,800 points. So that's going to do it for this one, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all today's greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's going to do it for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.